Hello dear viewers and welcome to this special interview. Today we turn our attention to the developments in the Reef region, particularly Al-Husayma, where anger simmers over continued marginalization, repression and what many describe as a deliberate policy of isolation by the Makhzen regime. The Reef National Party, led by Yuba Al-Ghadiwi, has reiterated its call for independence, rejecting dialogue with the current regime. Meanwhile, activists and the diaspora are pushing to internationalize the Reef cause, seeking recognition and mobilizing legal and diplomatic channels to reclaim what they say is the stolen right of self-determination. Today we explore what is the future of the Reef movement, what is the political roadmap, and can the Reef cause gain momentum on the African and international stage? To answer these questions, joining us in the studio, Mr. Abdul Khadr, Bayad, Reef Party spokesperson in the Netherlands.
Thank you for
joining us today. So we'll start with the first question, Mr. Abdul Khadr. Let's start with the present moment. How do you describe the situation in the Reef region? Are we witnessing an escalation or a continuation of the same repressive policies?
If I had to describe the situation in the Reef nowadays, I think it's most of the darkest moments for the Reef Republic, because the repression is not something new for the Reefians. It started in 1920, actually in 1909 with the repression by the Spanish. The resistance in the vicinity of Nador was led by Muhammad Amzian. He died, unfortunately. The resistance continued under the leadership of Abdul until 1926. And we were getting used to repression by the Spanish. After the Spanish left in 1956, our country was given to Morocco, and the repression became worse. And every time when you think something cannot get worse, the Makhzen manages to make it even worse. And at this moment, the Reef Republic and its Reefians, they only see a black sky. Even though you call them or you tell them it's a blue sky, the only answer you get from our sky today is black.
You announced the birth of the International Forum for the Republic of the Reef, calling for independence and rejecting any reconciliation with the Makhzen, the current Makhzen regime. What does this step represent in the process of demanding independence for the Reef? I mean, rejecting, as I said, reconciliation with the Makhzen regime. Why this stance now? I mean, how realistic is this goal, according to your own perspective?
This rejection is nothing new for us. We started by rejecting the Spanish. We have a declaration at the United Nations in which we're calling out for the Reef Republic. The Spain left, Morocco came back. So the rejection is nothing new for us. We're just repeating the same rejection, only the oppressor changed.
You've met recently with diaspora and organized international forums. How do you assess the process in taking the Reef cause to the global stage? Does the international forum mark the opening of a new chapter in your struggle for independence?
What we discovered is that our cause is not well known. It's not about is your cause strong or not. It's about the people need to know the cause. The cause is very strong. Its history is real. It's well documented by many journalists from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s of the last century. And the only thing what we need to do today is let the people know our history. It's like having a car, but it has no number plates. So we are looking for a way to put number plates on our car so we can put this car on our name.
We'll talk about the regional influence. Last November, the Reef, or the first Reef Day, highlighted African solidarity. If we talk about Africa, how important is Africa's role in supporting the Reef cause or the people's rights to self-determination?
Very important, because if you try to explain something to someone else, the only one who understands you is who still has the scars of colonization. If you try to explain your situation to someone who didn't experience colonization, it's very hard to to make them believe what freedom brings you. And I believe that the African countries need no explanation about how it feels to be colonized, how it feels to be oppressed, how it feels to know your people are dying and get killed for just being for who they are.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about another continent here. What about Europe? Are you engaging with any European countries or institutions to support your cause? I mean, how do you plan, engaging with some countries who are that are back in the Makhzen regime for today?
If you know the history, you will also understand that the European countries have no advantage in having a free Reef Republic. Because back then, in 1926, 1927, when more than one European country teamed up with France and Spain, they did things which were forbidden, like using chemical weapons. Mm-hmm. In 1926, at the beach of the city of El-Hoceima, was the first amphibian landing on the beach. It was not Normandy, D-Day in France, because a lot of people think that was the first amphibious landing. No, it was not. It was in El-Hoceima. And I think a lot of European countries are still under control of the Moroccan Makhzen. We know the Moroccan Makhzen has all kinds of tactics to oppress even the European politicians. We all know about the Pegasus case. We all know about the Moroccan Gate, bribery. So at this moment, we are experiencing difficulties with European countries. Mm-hmm. Because what I told you, Morocco is doing everything in its power to keep them away from the Reefians.
So do you think that EU countries, or breaking the silence, depends on, official pressure, as you said? What concrete steps should the European Union take? In this case, which EU bodies or member states in the European Union are you targeting here?
First of all, I think the European countries need to be to have some courage. At this moment, they are like cowards. Mm-hmm. Once they have the courage to say sorry to the Reefian people, to acknowledge the history, because what we say and what we do is not some fairy tale. Mm-hmm. It's all documented, like I said before. Once they take that step and they create some distance between them and the Moroccan Makhzen, they can be really democratic. At this moment, they're profiling themselves as a democratic country, every one of them, mm-hmm. but they're acting not like it.
Let's circle back to 2017. Since the death of Mohsen Fikri in 2017, 16. Yeah. Okay, thank you for the correction. So the movement has gained visibility, but also faced heavy clashes. What changed? Heavy repression and pressure. What has changed since then?
What has changed is the death of Mohsen Fikri. As we say in Dutch, that was the drop of water that made the bucket flow over. Mm-hmm. If I translate it literally.
So that was the straw.
Yeah. The killing of Mohsen Fikri was not the first time that the Reefian experienced killing, raping, oppressing. It happened a lot of times before. For example, 1958, 1959, when Hassan II, he was still a prince, he was not a king, he killed in the vicinity of El-Hoceima about 25,000 Reefians because they did not accept the Moroccan Makhzen to control the Reef Republic. For example, 1984, especially in the city of Nador, that's where I'm from, mm-hmm. People were demonstrating on the streets and they were shot by military. People escaped and they told their experience, what they saw, what they heard. But like I said, it was not the first time, it was not the second time. 2011, 5 young men were killed in a police station and burned after in a bank. Because the Moroccan regime did not want the family to know that their sons were died by violence. So they torched the bank and they told the people these boys were trying to rob the bank, and while doing so, it catch fire. Mm. And then came Mohsen Fikri. And in between 2011 and 2016, it happened like the rapper Reef. He was killed, he was cut in pieces and thrown away in a forest. But I think Mohsin Fikri, his death, especially because a lot of people have seen it happening. He was crushed in a truck. And that was the moment for the Reefians to realize you can accept a lot of things, but this Ramadan will never change. And they were hoping for a change. They were hoping that one time the Ramadan would accept them as Reefians and would give them basic rights. By crushing Mohsin Fikri, the Ramadan was not only crushing a human being, he was also crushing the hope of the Reefians. And that's what made the death of Mohsin Fikri a turning point.
There are talks about including the Reef issue in the UN decolonization agenda. I mean, what concrete steps are being taken so far to achieve this?
Sorry, for?
There are talks about including the Reef issue in the UN decolonization agenda. I mean, what steps are being taken to achieve this?
Steps that are being taken is people of ours have brought in the evidence of the Reef Republic. A lot of declarations of people who experienced the violence of the Ramadan. One of them, especially this one, is Ali Arras. He experienced the practices of the Ramadan. He was released alive, thankfully. And he's one of our main evidences of what the Moroccan regime does to both the Reefians, but also to the Moroccans.
Does the party have a dedicated mechanism to track and follow up human rights abuses in the Makhzen, or by the Makhzen? How will the victims' cases be handled, since you talked about the human violations?
You have to know the Moroccan Makhzen does not stop when you are released from jail. We experienced a lot of people who had been abused, put in jail, raped. Once you contact them and the Makhzen knows that, he does everything in his power to silence the families by giving them money, by threatening with jail, threatening with rape, going to the mothers and the fathers. So at this moment, it's very hard to get people who experienced the oppression. And I think Ali Arras is a pioneer in what he's doing right now. And we hope with his courage and his voice to motivate other people who have been a victim of the Makhzen to come to us and tell their stories too.
So you've suggested holding perpetrators to account, right?
Yeah.
Are you exploring the International Criminal Court or other tribunals for this purpose?
Yes and no. Yes, because we have Ali Arras. The High Court of Spain decided that the Spanish government should not have extradited Ali Arras to Morocco. So that's a big win for us. It also proves that a country like Belgium, because he has two nationalities, the Moroccan and the Belgium, that European countries are not equal to their people. Because there was an example of somebody else who was not Reefian, from another nationality, and when she got caught abroad, Belgium did everything to get her released, and in the case of Ali Arras, did nothing to get him released. So for us, that was a proof that Morocco was the one who is controlling the European countries.
We talk about the symbolism of the first Reef office abroad. You recently opened the first representative office of the Reef Republic outside the region. What does this step mean for your political agenda or political project?
It's a big step. It's a big step to be acknowledged by a country like Algeria, like we say Zeya in Reefian. It's a big step for our people, especially in the Reef, because this is the first time that an official sovereign country has not accepted, but is also standing by with the Reefians and acknowledging that the Reefians indeed are independent and indeed have a Reef Republic and indeed are a people who have the right to control their own territory.
As you approach the 100th anniversary of the Reef Republic, what symbolic and practical steps are you planning to mark this milestone? And I mean, what message are you trying to send, especially in light of the ongoing repression?
We're preparing a lot of things, but we're saying nothing. There's a reason for it. The Moroccan Makhzen is, especially after we got our place in Algiers, is doing everything in its power to put a stick in our spokes. So we have plans, but at this moment we do not bring them abroad because, like I said before, we don't give the enemy the stones to throw at us.
Let's talk about the cultural aspect and the identity. You stated that the Reef are not, I mean, census figures, but are people with their own culture and language, right? So what message are you trying to send here?
The message is the Reefian have always been around in North Africa, and they will always be around in Africa. We are not some kind of people who just come and pass by. Our ancestors have seen a lot of enemies from all kinds of countries, and Morocco is just one of the next enemy. And I know for sure we will put him in our history books as one of those enemies who we defeated.
With the Polisario, we talk about the Polisario front here, with the Polisario gaining, I mean, ground internationally, how can the Reef movement leverage that, I mean, that momentum for their cause? To give you an example, when in 1975, when Morocco entered the Sahrawi territory, a lot of Sahrawis fled to Europe. One Sahrawi told us when they come to Belgium, the first people who invited them to the houses and gave them a place to eat and to sleep were the Reefians. And I think that's a perfect example of the brotherhood between the Sahrawis and the Reefians. Normally, you can't go up above 100%, but I think by combining the Sahrawis with the Reefians, you now have 200%. And we can support each other, we can inspire each other, and I think this is a great change in the resistance against the same enemy. So we talked about repression and we talked about human violations by the Makhzen regime. How has the Makhzen's economic isolation, for example, closures of businesses, travel restrictions, investment freezes, impacted everyday life in the Reef region?
Before, like in the early 80s, in the 90s, you were oppressed, but there were means to have a life. You could have a shop, you could have do your business, but the Moroccan has intensified the oppression towards the Reefians. The border is closed between Nador and Melilla. A lot of Reefians got their merchandise from the Spanish territory in Melilla, and the oppression is intensified, especially after Mohsin Fikri, after the Hirak movement. To give you an example, in some regions in the Reef, you are not allowed to have even bricks in your car. Bricks. Cement, bricks are not allowed to have in your car.
How so?
That is how high the oppression has been now.
Let's talk about youth. I mean, youth, Reef activists have been at the forefront of protests. How are you engaging with the Reef youth, and what role are they playing in the movements, in shaping the movement's messaging and tactics?
Over time, the way of communication between people changes, and the youth of now uses especially social media, like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. We use those media too, and I've seen a lot of changes in the last 2-3 years. A lot of Reefians who identified as Moroccans, like you call them Moroccan, are now changing. They are asking questions, we're answering their questions, and they're starting to identify themselves as Reefian. First they were Moroccans, then they were Reefian Moroccans, and now they call themselves Reefians.
We talk about another category of people here, more specifically women. Reef women have increasingly stepped into the leadership of the movement and organizing roles as well. How central are they to your strategy, and what unique contributions are they making?
the woman is the mother of a nation. So indeed, they are very important to have amongst us. But like I said before, we know the tactics of the Maghzen, so we have a lot of women supporting us and doing their things, but we can keep them out of sight of the Maghzen. So they are there, but we keep them invisible.
Finally, before we wrap up, what is your roadmap moving forward? What are the next steps in the struggle for the Reef people's rights?
Right now, we are trying to get acknowledged by the world, to let the people know who we are. The day before yesterday, there was a perfect example. We have been in November here in Algiers, and when people heard us talking in restaurants or in shops, it was altijd, you're Moroccan, and we had to explain we are Reef, we are not Moroccan. And the day before yesterday, there was this perfect example where one of the employers asked us if we're Moroccans, and his own colleagues said no, they are Reefians. So we already see a change in the view of the Algerians and in the amount or the level of knowledge about the Reefians. So our cause now, our goal is to increase the knowledge of the people in Algeria and outside of Algeria about the Reefian and the Reefian cause.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Khadr bin Ayad, Reef Party spokesperson in the Netherlands. Thank you for joining us again today.
You're welcome to it, and thank you for having me here.
The Reef issue remains one of the region's most complex and sensitive files, a struggle rooted in history, but unfolding in today's geopolitical landscape. Thank you so much, dear viewers, for watching, and take care.